Christmas film drama on BBC1 as a schoolboy is plunged into the chaos of war.
I can't remember what my parents look like.
Steven Spielberg's epic Empire of the Sun, next Saturday at 8 on BBC1. And on Monday, Dustin Hoffman's compelling portrayal of autism.
There are dangers everywhere for Raymond. Routines, rituals, it's all he has to protect himself.
Chris, it's definitely not my room, and I don't have my tapioca pudding, and the bed's in the wrong place. That's definitely not my bed.
You don't like it there, you can move it.
Why do you want the bed, Raymond?
Should be near the window.
Raymond was left all the money, and I got nothing.
How much?
$3 million the inheritance, every penny of it.
So?
I'm gonna keep him till I get my half. I deserve that!
Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise star in Rain Man, Monday at 9:35 on BBC1.
BBC Two in 5 minutes has the pleasure of looking back over a decade of that essential ingredient in any Christmas stocking and selecting some of the most memorable moments from Morecambe and Wise. We on One in 20 minutes head into the realm of comic fantasy with a feather-raising adventure story of Earth-threatening evil forces, dark-inhabited planets, and to the rescue, Howard, a new breed of hero. First on BBC One, the news at 9:40 with Michael Burke.
The former Soviet republics have dissolved the Soviet Union. Boris Yeltsin tells President Gorbachev to resign now with dignity. 2 people shot dead in Belfast tonight when gunmen sprayed a pub with bullets. High winds and driving rain cause chaos on road and rail. Good evening. 11 Soviet republics agreed to form a new Commonwealth of Independent States today and consigned the Soviet Union to history. They abolished Mikhail Gorbachev's job as president. At their meeting at Alma-Ata in Kazakhstan, they agreed that the Russian president, Boris Yeltsin, should be the key figure in controlling the huge Soviet nuclear arsenal. But they left many military and economic questions unanswered.
Boris Yeltsin flew into Alma-Ata in buoyant mood. He had come to bury the Soviet Union and to build the new Commonwealth. Much to his pleasure, 11 republics turned up in all. That's far more than President Gorbachev had managed to gather together. Today only Georgia was absent, though even it sent observers. The 11 took part in a signing ceremony that makes them all co-founders of the Commonwealth, first devised a fortnight ago by Russia, Belarus and Ukraine. This will not be a single state, rather a collection of individual independent countries, which hope they'll now get international recognition, perhaps within a few days. They will still be bound together by a network of political and economic agreements, but with 11 signatures and a round of applause, the Soviet Union had ceased to exist. Afterwards, the leaders congratulated themselves and then announced that they'd appointed the Soviet Defense Minister Yevgeny Shapashnikov, who was in Alma-Ata today, as temporary commander-in-chief of what was the Red Army. The 11 explained at a news conference that a final agreement on who's now in charge of the armed forces has been put off until December the 30th, when there'll be another meeting in Minsk. But the 4 republics with nuclear weapons did sign a separate agreement today, which lets Boris Yeltsin decide if and when to use them, though only in consultation with the other 3. There is therefore still some confusion, and this was a slightly shambolic start to the Commonwealth, especially when the Ukrainian president couldn't get his microphone to work. But on one thing they were sure, that Mr. Gorbachev has to go, and go with dignity.
We respect Mikhail Sergeyevich, and we want to stop the tradition that began in 1917, when every former state leader ended up being considered a criminal.
They may not consider him a criminal, but they have effectively sacked Mr. Gorbachev. Today they sent a message by telephone to the Kremlin, telling him that the Soviet Union and his presidency were now no more. But they did thank Mr. Gorbachev for what they called his great and positive contribution. Ben Brown, BBC News, Moscow.
A few minutes ago, I spoke to Ben Brown in Moscow and asked him what Mr. Gorbachev's position is now.
He's in an utterly impossible position. The Republican leaders in Alma-Ata today have decided and agreed that there is no Soviet presidency anymore, there's no Soviet Union anymore. So even if Mr. Gorbachev wanted to hang on, really he couldn't. There isn't a job for him to do. His spokesman today was hinting that we could expect an announcement from Mr. Gorbachev as to his resignation perhaps early next week. I would guess Monday or Tuesday, perhaps Wednesday. He's saying at the moment Mr. Gorbachev wants to see the small print of what's been decided in Alma-Ata. If he did want to hang on, to stall even longer, he could wait for the parliaments of the individual republics to ratify what's been decided in Alma-Ata, but I suspect he's now ready to go.
Is there a sense that the actual power and role of Mr. Gorbachev are actually being assumed by Mr. Yeltsin?
I think there is some sense of that. Certainly Mr. Yeltsin must be very pleased with what he's got out of this agreement in Alma-Ata today. For example, Russia is now taking over, and has been allowed to take over, the former Soviet Union's permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. That will give Russia immense international prestige and power. Also, on nuclear weapons, Russia now has the dominant finger on the nuclear button.
But to what extent has the issue of who controls the Soviet nuclear arsenal actually been resolved by today's meeting?
I don't think it has been completely resolved. Certainly the West were looking for more reassurances about a unified command and control structure than I think they've got today. You have Kazakhstan as one of the republics, one of the 4 Soviet republics which has nuclear weapons, saying that it still wants to hang on to them. So that's probably a worry for the West. On conventional forces too, there's still a lot of confusion. Although Marshal Shapashnikov, the defense minister, has been appointed commander-in-chief, that's only for 9 days, and the republics are going to meet again on December the 30th to decide further what they have to do with what was the Red Army.
Ben Brown in Moscow, thanks very much. 2 people have been shot dead in Belfast within the past hour when gunmen opened fire in a pub in a loyalist area of the city. 2 others have been taken to hospital. Earlier, a young student helping out in a shop was also shot dead in the village of Moy in County Tyrone. It's thought he was trying to protect his father, the gunman's intended victim.